We are live, babe. We're live. Woo! 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 Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for joining us live on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to go find us on the Twitter and the Instagram. Please go.
Sorry.
Wow. Please go. Send like, share, send us some stars or bubbles or whatever. I think it's 99 cents to send stars on Facebook.
What?
I don't know what happens when you send stars if we get the
I didn't know
99
there was some kind of
cents.
charge.
Well, you can send stars.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
You can like pay to send people stars. I don't know if we get money. I don't even know how that
Oh,
works. If
I'll
someone
take
wants
money.
to
I
tell
don't want
me,
your stars. I'll take your
but
money.
send bubbles, some hearts, some thumbs up, some little smiley faces. Go like, share, subscribe, tell everyone you know. Right now I'm gonna go share. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the bubbles are. The right post. Hold on. Come watch the show.
I'm doing the same thing. Sorry.
Okay. We actually do follow directions pretty well.
Do we though?
Yeah, most of the time, unless we purposely are trying to ignore the rules, which also happens. All right. Well, hello, friends. Welcome. Let me get angled here so I can see your face better. I'm trying to hit a dog.
I just got a message from.
Oh my God, this dog! Like we barely got in here, and this dog's asleep, but her eyes are all like rolled up.
Oh, are they?
And her little eyelid isn't closed. Oh my gosh, it's so creepy. I'm gonna take a picture and post it on the show. What's wrong?
My stupid Facebook thing's doing that thing where it takes forever to post.
She looked at me and she's like, all right. Well, we're gonna get started, babe.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. We have a variety of movies, lots of good movies to talk about today. Oh goodness. You got some
the one I'm trying to share right now, but it's
some
not.
internet problemos. Well, that's
it
okay.
Does that sometimes.
All right, babe. We have so much to talk about. I don't even know where you want to begin.
I don't care. Wherever you'd like to, my love.
I feel like this was a big movie, but a few weeks ago, that
What?
one, like I
Yeah,
missed
why don't
it.
you talk about that first? Because I'm always the one that goes first on stuff, and
Okay.
it's all about you today.
I'll go first.
Why don't you go, sister?
All right. So
Unless we solve my
today
problem
we
I'm
are
having already.
going to talk about the new West Side Story, the new version of the movie directed by Steven Spielberg.
And the
Mr.
reason we're talking
E.T.
about it today is because it comes out on the Blu-ray and the DVD this Tuesday.
Correct. Hopefully you saw it in theaters. This is probably a good one to see on a big screen. I can see it.
It's also getting a lot of Oscar buzz and whatnot. It's been nominated.
I don't know if you've seen the original, if you've are aware. Now, what I do know most about this movie are the songs. I know all the songs. I know the America song, and I know the tonight, something tonight. Like everybody knows these songs, right?
Do we?
Well, okay, I do maybe because I'm a theater nerd. But so to me, I'm just going to tell you straight up, the best thing about this movie are the songs and the dance scenes and the dance numbers. And I think one of the things that hopefully you'll notice if you watch the old one and the new one comparatively is that we actually have Latin people cast as the Latin people.
Are you trying to tell me the original movie was whitewashed?
It was. They actually put everyone in dark makeup because for some reason, I don't know why this is, but the belief was that all Latin people, Puerto Rican people, Hispanic, Mexican people are all brown. Well, guess what? We are different shades of brown.
What?
Just like there are different shades of white.
There's also different shades of gray.
And there are. But there's like from
there's at least 50.
Translucent pasty pink white to I work outside and I have a tan white. Well, there's the same thing with us. We are multi shades of browns and chocolate mocha and cafe au laits.
Cafe au lait.
We are multicolored brown people,
Lovely.
And so I think that to me was kind of the biggest draw to this new version was seeing like your leads Puerto Ricans are actually Puerto Ricans. Like that. That seems like duh because nowadays we're aware of like Puerto Rican actors or Cuban actors. I mean, we're aware of them today, but back in the time of the original movie, there wasn't as many. Yeah. And so...
Well, and then there was. They just weren't getting...
these parts.
Recognition in film and stuff because there's that stupid thing that's always been... And it even still falls. It's finally kind of getting... That wall's being broken down from a standpoint. There was always a fear of well, an Asian person can't lead a film, an American film, or a Hispanic person, or this, but nobody will buy into that. And now that we've had things like Crazy Rich Asians and Black Panther and all these
Mm-hmm.
things are hitting and breaking those barriers and saying, hello, people will pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I
it
mean,
makes you
even
wonder with, I'm sorry, I mean,
yeah,
interrupt
go
you. It
ahead.
makes you wonder with a movie like this, it was such an iconic classic, it's a big risk to remake it.
It is,
And it makes
I
you
think
wonder
it
if that's
is.
one of the reasons Spielberg, maybe he's a huge fan, but also maybe part of his thing was, I want to remake it, but with the right people.
Correct.
I don't know. I didn't see
That
anything.
I do appreciate that he did want to. And in a way he did. There in the original one, there's one character that's like the tomboy. It's like the sister of one of the Jets who's like a tomboy. Well, in this version, they actually casted a non-binary individual to play it
Right.
who
Excuse me.
don't know what she was born, whatever. I don't want to call her she. I think she's a they. So let me get your pronouns correct. They identify as non-binary, and I like that. In the movie he says something about her being a girl, and she's like, whoa, I'm your brother, and I'm like, it's that thing. But they actually cast someone that fits the part much better than some
Was that in the
girl
original
wearing
thing too?
well, it was a tomboy
Oh, okay.
kid, but now
Before they
have
gave it
a
in the new terms that we use today.
correct.
Yeah,
So
because
I
tomboy
think
used to be, well, tomboy wasn't always the same thing, because tomboy sometimes just meant a
correct,
girl that
but
kind of acted like a boy, but in reality, are they really acting like a boy? That was just the stereotype back
because in the
then.
other one she was fighting with the gang, and in this one they are fighting with the gang, but they're
Because
non-binary
the whole
individual.
tomboy
So I
mentality
do
could also be looked
appreciate.
at like female UFC fighters now, because they say, well, they're acting mannish, so that's a tomboy,
Well,
but then
that's
they're
a
very
whole
feminine
other
outside of the ring.
conversation.
So
I don't,
that's a whole different
because
scenario.
that's a whole other thing that upsets me.
Yeah.
With men, they're like, women shouldn't be fighting. Who said?
Those are some of the most brutal fights.
If they want to fight.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm sorry.
But I appreciate that Steven Spielberg redid the movie in an appropriate way with an appropriate cast. Personally, I don't. I struggled with the movie. I kind of go back and forth because it's like, I've seen this. I know. I personally don't want to have to relive this whole white people hating Latin people thing again.
Is it as the white people that's going to hate on the Latino? Now, I didn't watch it, and I don't think I've ever seen the original all the way through. To be clear for the three people that might be watching, is your frustration is not, I've seen this because of the other movie. You're getting irritated, tired of seeing the same.
I'm tired of seeing the
conflict.
same conflict over
Right.
and over. But then again, I'm thinking,
It's a
okay,
conflict that exists all the
it's
time.
still a conflict that exists, unfortunately. And I don't think it's just Latinx people. I think it's now all brown people per se. So
what is the Latinx thing? Explain this to me. It's driving me crazy, because I know John Leguizamo talks about Latinx a lot.
I personally feel like I'm Latina, but I'm also older. So Latinx is
that supposed to encompass all of them?
Yes, male, female, non-binary, regardless of
it
gender.
has nothing to do with the different cultures of Hispanic.
No, it's Latin
or
without
Latins.
A gender.
Oh.
So we're not saying Latino, Latina.
See, I misunderstood. I thought it was supposed to be, I thought it was referring to as Latinx as like trying to bring all the Latin Hispanic cultures into one pile as a term.
No.
Not saying you're disrespecting Guatemalans and Mexicans and El
that's
Salvadorians.
the whole issue within ourselves.
Yeah, but I didn't know if I honestly, in my lack of knowledge, I assumed when they were talking about Latinx that it was about all of the Hispanic cultures being referenced at once, not the thing. Okay, that makes sense then. Okay, it doesn't annoy me near as much, because I was kind of getting annoyed.
It's a new generational thing. I personally consider myself Latina, but that's okay.
Well, see, and I was kind of annoyed.
You can be whatever you want to be. How about that?
And
how about that?
I'm a huge John Leguizamo fan, but I was always annoyed with the Latinx thing, because I'm like, no, man, you're celebrating the cultures, but then you're ignoring their culture, because Guatemalans and El Salvadorians and Mexicans and Spanish.
Oh, don't worry, they'll tell you.
I know. That's why I was like, how
they will tell you.
That's why I was like, how is this okay? Because we have friends that are El Salvadorian and Mexican, and neither one of them like being called the other one.
No,
so,
okay,
you can't. That makes more sense now. Look, I learned something today.
Anyways, I think I was tired of seeing the same struggle. Now, I will give Baby Driver credit. He can sing. And this little lady right here, beautiful. And then
I like that nobody you see in any movie, they get one movie And once you know them from
You
that
only
movie,
get one chance to make an impression.
Once you know them from that movie, that's who they are for the rest of their life.
Pretty much. I mean,
doesn't matter their award status of a movie. It doesn't matter their performance. Doesn't matter how memorable character is. They get stuck on something, and you just gotta hope that person gets stuck in something that's good.
Yes.
Because you have a few that you name them for something. I'm like, really? This person has gone on the list, and all you still know is this?
Yes. Anyways, the other girl who, even this one is the romantic lead, but in the original movie and in this movie, everybody is all about Anita, who's the older sister. So that was the Rita Moreno part. Even though she was not as big, supposedly the lead, but I think they're co-leads. Anyway, this girl that is in this one, Ariana DeBose, I think we've seen her in something else. Well, here's the thing, too. So she considers herself to be Afro-Latina because she's Puerto Rican, but there's some mix there. And in case you didn't know, my friends, slavery affected all of Latin America and South America and Mexico. I mean, it was all affected. And so just, I bring this up. It was in probably the last generation that Afro-Mexican was identified and acknowledged as its own racial line item. When you're filling out your forms in Mexico, you can be Mexican, but you can be Afro-Mexican now. And so like she's Afro-Latina because there's a mix, because it affected us all, friends, in case you didn't know. But anyways, this lady is
not all of
amazing. Us. Well, okay, whitey tidy.
All right, lefty loosey.
No, there is one line that in this movie that got me. And I wish I could have called you. I couldn't call you, but I told you later. Where they're like,
why couldn't you call me?
The guy's like, sooner or later, the white people kill everything. And I was like,
that's sadly true.
Sadly true. Still,
that's kind of sadly become of the human population now.
Humans are the most dangerous thing on the planet. Anyway, the movie is good. If you liked the original, probably like this one. It was fine. I felt like I was just kind of like in the same story. Now there are some differences because Rita Moreno's character's in this in a role that didn't exist in the first one. In the first one, it was a man that owned a drugstore. In this one, she's the widow of the man owning the drugstore.
So did they change it specifically so they could bring her back in?
For her. They wrote this part for her.
Oh, how do you know that?
Because guess what? There was a Rita Moreno.
Oh, it's in that documentary?
Oh, no. Actually, there's a documentary after West Side Story.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So West Side Story is coming to
Blu-ray, DVD, 4K, or whatever all they're putting out on Tuesday.
Correct.
It's already on digital, I believe.
There's a making of thing. I don't know if it comes. I'm assuming it comes with it.
Yeah, usually all the bonus features and everything else.
It is a really good documentary. It actually helped me understand because Steven Spielberg's in a bunch of it, explaining his motivation of why he wanted to do it. He does sing. The dancing in this one is amazing. The first one's amazing too. If you watch Rita Moreno on that rooftop, it's amazing.
Is this the movie where everybody does this?
Yes.
Right before the fight?
Yes.
Did they do that in this one?
Yes. But it's not just like that. More like they're like angry.
Oh,
like
I know.
Grabbing stuff
right. That's the one thing
in this version instead of this.
Can I just tell you?
Well, I mean, it's Romeo and Juliet all over again.
I get it. But I have a thing against musicals.
Correct.
I respect the talents and the abilities
because they're amazingly talented.
And my issue with musicals, as I've said on this show many times, is this obviously it's not for me. I don't bash people that love them. My issue is I can't stand musicals where everything is a music, like singing about I really want a root beer. I want a root beer. And it's no point. I like when the music has a point to the story. So something like Dreamgirls where the music is part of it.
Well, this is like that.
So anyway, because of that, it drives me crazy in stage productions, musicals, when they take something that I know is supposed to be part of their dances. I know like this, and I know it's supposed to be to beat a music, and it's why they're doing it, but it's also supposed to set this tone. Like if I ever, as someone who fights, came across somebody that's going to come at me like this, or I'm going to be like, I'm just going to punch you in the face. And so that kind of stuff is what takes me out of it.
Yeah.
Like I really have a problem separating my own knowledge of fighting and defending and these kind of things, and then watching, it's like, I'm like, I know it's stupid. It's hard to get past.
I know. I mean, I think once I got through the whole love story thing and we get to the action of this person killed this person, so now I'm going to go get revenge and kill you, but then I'm going to go revenge, that whole revenge killing. Then it actually picked up towards the end. The beginning was a little slow to me, but that's okay.
So I brought up the fighting. I have to ask.
Yes.
If they're fighting, I know it's not martial arts crazy fighting, but is it If the fights at least look like they're fighting, or is it like
Yeah.
beat it dance fighting? When
No,
they're
this one looks like real fights.
okay, so they're not like they don't choreograph their fights like their dances where they're like pulling away and jumping in, or they actually have like fights.
It's a little bit of both.
Oh God!
And then there's some shooting ups. No, but then there's points where they're just running and fighting and climbing things.
I'm just curious. I haven't watched it yet. In theory, I need to watch this on review unless I can get her to review.
Yeah, I will.
If you love me, you'll do it.
But then the documentary afterwards was really good, and Steven Spielberg does speak to his desire to make it authentic with authentic actors.
Oh, so I was right.
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
And the reason why they cast the young person that's non-binary in that one role, how they wrote a part for Anita Moreno to come back. And so it goes through a lot of it.
She was the original lead, right?
She was the original Anita, who's the lead girl's older sister.
Oh,
but to me, that's the lead role. Everybody wants to be Anita. Nobody wants to be Maria. But who knows? I mean, everybody wants to be either one. Who knows?
I got you.
Anyways, yeah.
All
it's
right.
okay.
Well, and you said you watched something else with
Rita
and
Moreno. Then afterwards,
I'll let you just dive right into that.
Welcome led
to the Drew Show.
Then it led me down this remembrance of, oh my gosh, hey babe, remember there was that Anita Moreno documentary I wanted to watch. Well, guess what? I watched it. It's available right now on Netflix. So you should get on over there.
Year, I think.
Yeah, you need to get on over there and watch this.
Get on over there.
It's Rita Moreno, just a girl who decided to go for it. So she talks about her life journey of coming here from Puerto Rico as a young girl with her and her mom, the struggle to make it. She was always into dancing. You know, she was a dancer. That's what she wanted to do. And someone saw her and they put her in a role in a movie, you know. And so then, though, as she became a teenager, young lady in the studios there, talking about how they treated women back then, basically. Like if you wanted to get a part, you know what you had to do with the men. So they would take them to these fancy parties and dress them up and be like, oh, you need to go mingle. There's a lot of movie executives and stuff. And she's like a young, innocent young lady in this gross, what it seems, the way she describes it, is like kind of this big, fat, gross man who's some studio head guys like, hey, honey, come dance with me. And
casting couch
grind, grinding on her, be like, hey, I want to take you back and with you. And she's just like,
she wanted to do what?
Take her back and F her.
No, but what did you say?
With you.
You made a weird sound that I've never heard before.
It's like, anyways, it was gross.
That's how we started dating.
Hell.
I was a gross studio head.
It was, here's the thing though. She's in this big fancy hotel. And the only people that she can go to help her are the Mexican gardeners. And she tells them in Espanol, help me get out of here. And they're like, we will take you home. So she trusted some random Mexican gardener guy out there to get her back to her apartment. And then she goes on to tell the story, you know, just the difficulties for her getting cast into roles. And if you look at Rita Moreno, she's pretty fair skinned. I think she's even lighter than me. But they would always paint her in this dark makeup. And she said, I always felt like I was wearing mud. They would make her Native Americans. They would make her Indians.
Well, that's how they did
They would make her the Mexicans. They would make her, she was in The King and I as an Asian. I mean,
if you go back and look at a lot of the cultures, like especially a lot of the Westerns, used a lot of Hispanic people as Indians.
Yep.
They use a lot of Indians as Hispanic people.
Yep.
You know, it was kind of a weird.
And so during that time period, she's like, that's every role I got. Was I knew I was going to get like this dark makeup put on me and I was going to have to stand there and do an accent. But back then they didn't even care what accent it was. So she just came up with the generic, okay, accent that she used in everything. If you watch The King and I, it's the same thing as she's Asian. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. So, you know, that was the struggle for her. She even talks about something horrible that happened with her manager, but even after that, she's like, and I didn't know better to get a new manager. You know, basically he abused her and she still stayed. She didn't know any better. She didn't know what to do. And so, you know, one thing after another, and really for her, this role was like her chance to actually be her, not like me get dressed up and be like random Native American, Indian, Asian girl, but like actually be a Puerto Rican. Which is what she was. So, I mean, this what to her was the big deal. So, you know, in this documentary, some of the cast of the other ones show up and just talk about how, important she was in their lives. Some of her castmates from One Day at a Time are there. So it's a really great documentary, and you
One Day
should
at a
watch it.
Time?
So yeah, she's in the one.
Oh,
the
the new one. I was like, she's not in One Day at a Time. You're talking about the
the
remake?
new one. Yeah,
Alright,
that's
not the
really
good one.
good. No, this one's even better. But anyways,
And Romano is the right one with Schneider.
anyways, you need to watch. So if you have time, watch West Side Story. You can watch the original, watch the new one, watch that documentary, then watch this documentary. There you go.
Make a day of it. It'd be like watching the Batman.
There you go. You're
3
all
hours.
caught up. You are all caught up.
All
I have a
right.
comment coming in. Oh, our friend says hi. Hi.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Mi amo Bobby.
Hola.
See, I did that because of the theme of what we're talking about.
Yes. All right.
What's next,
We're
sister?
moving on. Moving on up.
What we got next, lady?
Well, there are a variety of items.
Pick something. I'll
you
go
want
with
to talk about that?
That or you want me to talk about that one I just
Oh,
finished?
you talk. I've been talking a long time.
All right, I haven't posted the review for this. I literally just finished it.
I was looking
It's for a movie
reviews.
called Invincible.
I am invincible.
And it's not to be confused with I believe it's a Mark Wahlberg football movie from years ago. This is a new movie. It stars Johnny Strong and Marco Zarar. I never can say it right or whatever it is. And for those of you who don't know who Johnny Strong is, he's been in a lot of straight-to-video action flicks, and a lot of times he'll play like a random soldier, this and that. But he was in the original Fast and the Furious.
Oh.
He's one of the main guys. The one guy that was not the young kid, not the crazed one that didn't like everybody. He was the other guy.
He's the other one.
Yeah. But he has led up a lot of straight-to-video kind of action flicks. He does a lot of, I think, his own music composing for some of these movies and stuff too. Marco Zararo is a Hispanic martial arts guy. I think he's Chilean. I don't remember.
He looks something.
But he's been pretty well known for. He was in Machete Kills. He was in From Dusk Till Dawn, the series. He's going to be in John Wick 4, which I'm super excited for. He did an awesome movie that's called Redeemer that we liked years ago.
Yes.
Then I actually have a quote on the cover of the box after I spoke with him. The movie basically, it's kind of a mashup of Universal Soldier from 1992 with Dolph Lundgren and Van Damme, and Silent Rage with Chuck Norris from 1982. So the premise is a soldier that can kill, they use science, they can bring him back and makes him unstoppable.
Okay.
Hence,
it says he has nanotechnology.
Yes, so they kind of upped it to that sci-fi level, where Silent Rage is more of an action thriller horror.
Yeah.
That's like a Chuck Norris martial arts flick meets Halloween, whereas Universal Soldier is more martial arts meets science fiction. It's kind of thrown together. You get a ton of fights, which if I've seen Marco Zorro or something, I'm in because I love that guy. So as long as they're letting him kick some ass, it's awesome. Johnny Strong is also a martial artist. He gets a lot of fights. Sadly, where the movie works, given a lot of the martial arts flicks, that's kind of where it stops. The movie is kind of cheese. It's really weird edits. Some of the performances are very hit and miss. Some of it may not be performance. It could be the audio. And sometimes the voices don't sound right. Like they might have redubbed it. It just didn't fit right. It felt like they were trying to make it too convoluted, and they didn't need to. It felt a little too long on some elements. Like we get to a certain point, but felt like they were trying to add more. Even all the way up to the very end, it has an element of when it's revealed of why something is happening, there's no more time in the movie to resolve that. It's like we're setting it up to maybe do another one without really ever doing another one, and it's sadly it's not great.
Yeah.
If you just watch it for the action, the fights are good. The problem with the fights is they do come off a little choreographed. But anytime Zarar's doing anything, he kicks major ass and does well. Johnny Strong stuff looks great too. It was a very low budget independent type movie with some great action stars that kind of conflicted each other. And I think what hurts a little bit, and I know this is due with budget, this has nothing to do with the filmmakers sometimes. And sadly, it's where we're going to be going a lot in a lot of films due to a lot of the tragic events that have been happening on films more often than not, is there's a lot of CGI muzzle flashes, the blood when somebody gets shot, explosions, some of the fire, they're all CGI. And because this is not a big, expensive movie, it's very noticeable that's not always there. And then it kind of takes you out of it. I don't fault the filmmakers because
No, I mean they do what they have to now.
Yeah, you work with what you got for a budget. For a low budget action flick, it works. Not to say I'd make a better one. I've made some low budget action flicks, and they're still not as good as this one. But it's one of those that I think your average viewer will probably watch and be like, ugh. I think people that can just appreciate an action flick, watch it for what it is. Just go watch it for the fights. It's worth it for that.
That's what I was saying. If you're just there for fights, that's okay.
Just watch it for the fights. There's plenty of them. They're not always great, but it's still it is what it is. It had the potential to, and has the potential to be awesome. Taking those two great, like I love Universal Soldier and I love Silent Rage. You match those two together, that's potential for greatness. But alas, it just doesn't fully live up to what it could have been.
That's okay.
It is available now on DVD. You can check it out. And surprisingly enough, we're giving away a copy of it on our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
So if you want to try it out see for yourself, but you don't want to have to pay for it, then go to our little free website.
There you go. Enter
at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
Enter the contest, and maybe
just enter.
Maybe you'll win.
It could be yours.
That's right. All right, moving on.
All right.
Excuse me.
Next, what do you want to talk about?
Whatever you want, sister.
You want to talk about this one?
Which one? I don't care. Just pick something.
Or that one.
Anything you want, pick it.
We're going to go here. Okay. Here we go.
Not this one. I'm just kidding.
So this movie is Silent Night.
Not to be confused with the horror franchise Silent Night, Deadly Night. That was also remade in a film called Silent Night.
That's good too.
Nothing to do with the serial killer for the hardcore fans out there. This is a completely different animal.
Well, see, when you said Silent Night original, I was like, ooh, a killer movie.
Yeah, it is not that at all.
It's not a slasher movie.
The thing that's weird about this movie, before we really get into it, is it fits in a lot of genres.
It does.
It's kind of family drama, dark comedy, a little horror element. A little not scary,
yeah, but a little sci-fi-ish.
Yeah, sci-fi-ness. There's a little bit of everything in this. And completely weird.
Yeah. So I think it's enjoyable because of that. There's so much. So it's Keira Knightley, Matthew Good, and the little boy is Roman Griffin Davis, who, by the way, this little boy is pretty good.
He is the guy that was the star of Jojo Rabbit.
There you go.
So if you saw Jojo Rabbit, which you never watched it, did you?
I don't think I did.
Such a great movie. He is the one that's talking to his imaginary friend Hitler and all that stuff.
Yeah. So there you go.
It's a great
movie. So how do we describe this?
It's a group of family and friends that are coming together for Christmas.
Correct.
Yet outside there's other events unfolding.
There's a
worldly event.
Is it? Can we say it's a? I don't think it's a plague.
Well, I don't want to kind of spoil it because there's something happening in the world outside, and you don't really know why. You don't really know who's doing it, if anybody.
Yeah, we don't know why or what it is.
It's a natural
disaster. Just know it's a thing.
And they never really fully explained it. It just kind of, there's a lot of speculation in the house that, hey, it could be the Russians, ironically.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, can we say that?
And this movie was made before all this happened.
Yeah, way before. So it's like,
they named
is this the movie we're not
somebody
supposed
else
to be watching?
says it's like the world fighting back, like the nature and universe.
It reminded me of that M. Night Shyamalan,
The Happening.
In a way, it's kind of the Happening, but not really. Anyways, but the point of this is everyone has been given a thing to take so that you can go peacefully.
Because the understanding, and this isn't really a spoiler. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not. The understanding is that nobody can survive this. Like the world is going to die.
The world is going to.
So it's like this helps you not go through the suffering of it all.
And here's one of the things I got to talk about.
And it creates a moral dilemma that sparks discussion from this film.
We have much discussion here. So there's 2 items I want to talk. So, well, maybe 3. So it's interesting. If you knew it was like your last days, who would you want to spend that time with?
Not you.
And so it was interesting. They did family,
tired of you,
but also their friend, like they're really close friends. And I think I would want to be with my close friends too. Like I have my little group of friends.
It's weird.
I think I'd want family there too, but my friends too. Like be all together.
But it's also weird. Like depending on your mindset, it's like, hey, okay, today's your last day to live. Would that be the time you go do all that messed up stuff you always said you were going to do and wouldn't do? Or would you go out there and say, throw caution in and go buy something stupid and extravagant?
Yeah, that of course.
Because you don't need the money anymore. But then would you also go punch that person in the face you always wanted to? Or would you, or do you want to just spend it sitting around and doing the same thing you've been doing for years with your friends? It's really complicated. Like you can say all these things, but then when it gets to happen,
we don't know.
do I just want to be with you? But then who did I leave out at that last moment? Do I go, oh crap, I wish I'd saw, and then it's too late.
Yeah, like your chance to.
I do know that I don't want to watch the grandkid in the final moments. I want to see her, but I don't want to watch her.
I'm not changing no diapers. If it's my last day.
My luck, I'd be like changing a diaper and be like, that would be it. I'd be like, no.
You fall down and like some poop.
Right in it.
Oh gosh.
I love that child, but no.
I know. Anyways, I think that there's two. Well, I was saying there were two things. What is it? One is, do you do this thing to go peacefully, or do you not? Like, this is a whole red pill, blue pill situation.
Right.
Do you take the pill to end it peacefully, or do you not? And this totally sparked a little debate on us, because you're like, yeah, why not? And I'm like, no, because to me that's suicide and that's wrong. So I wouldn't take the pill. I would just, whatever happens, happens. And I guess knowing that maybe you could be dying a horrible, excruciating death, but the other option to me is suicide, and I can't do that. So,
well, see, and that's,
to me, that's a moral dilemma.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of the gray area of things start happening, because, and this isn't arguing belief in God or anything else, but when you sit back and think about the bad things that happen in life, and the things that religion say, and the situation, because just like we have conversations, everybody has conversations about laws and scenarios, and there's never a black and white.
There's never
solution for anything. It's like the big, we were talking about some of the gay bill stuff that's going on, and you're like, well, an easy solution is that instead of worried about teaching people, do like we did, is when they did sex education, you send the thing home, you sign it, you get home. If they say no, you can't be part of it, you get moved to another room. It seems like a simple solution, but there's always other variables, and this kind of thing happens. Is like one of the things I always sit back and think, I don't agree with suicide, but it's like, okay, I understand your complete moral dilemma of religion and the idea of if you kill yourself, you go to hell. But who's to say that God didn't create this pill because, and if you killed yourself because you know you're going to die, not to suffer, or you killed yourself trying to save you, and it does it all the same, because there's so many elements of who really came up with that. Do we know, was it the Bible? Was it this, what time period? You know what I mean? There's so many different things.
And I think it goes just beyond this movie. I think it goes into every aspect of life, where in my opinion, you should just kind of let people do their thing.
Yeah, no, I agree.
As long as you're not hurting anyone or doing anything illegal, then you do you be whatever you can, and that's kind of where I was coming from. But then I can see your point too. Like, if the purpose is for us to use our knowledge that God has given us to create these things, then why wouldn't you? I don't know.
And it's not created for malicious intent. No. It's created to, all of you are going to die anyway. We don't want you to suffer. We want you to be able to.
I don't know. This movie had us thinking, and it seems like it's a
ridiculous movie from a bigger standpoint.
Like, it's not.
It's weird. I'm talking about it. I'm not talking about it in what they're dealing with. I'm like, it's ridiculous from the standpoint of these people.
Yeah.
Because it's weird, because like, before you get to that point and all this stuff, you're dealing with this family and friends coming together, and they're all horrible people. They all seem to hate each other.
Yes.
And they're weird.
And then now that they feel like, well, it doesn't matter, then they start spilling all their secrets.
Which is what normally happens in these kind of movies. Then you start figuring out,
well, there's beveraging involved and secret spilling. And then this person was with that person. Well, why didn't you want to be with me? What?
Children are horrible.
Oh, these children are
There's this one little girl that is the worst human being on the planet.
Horrible.
Like, she should have been taken out way before this thing starts happening. There's a weird scene where two little kids, it's not sexual, but two little boys, they had to be what, 12 or 13?
They were big kids.
They're like, go take a shower, take a bath, get ready for people to get here.
But it's because they were twins, so they do everything.
Yeah, together. So they were twins, and they're taking a bath together, but they were too big for that. And I'm just like, there was nothing weird about it. Like, it wasn't being a weird thing. It was just
strange.
What? And then there was a whole sequence of, like, the little girl's one of those kind that she does something and then somebody sees her, immediately will blame someone else. So, like, she walks in on the two little boys getting dressed, and she's their age, so it's not like a weird adult thing. She happens to walk in when they're getting out of the bathtub, and they're like, stop looking at this. She's like, no. And somebody comes in to see her, she goes, they flashed me, or whatever she says. And you're just like, what is going on in this movie? And there's no nudity. It's just it's just weird.
It's a weird movie with weird people, but with an interesting topic and moral dilemma.
Yeah, there's a whole thing with carrots and
Yeah.
and toffee puddings and
Sticky toffee pudding.
yeah, and then the people are freaking out. It's such a weird movie. The best thing about it is go into it blind and don't know anything. Don't watch a trailer because we
Just
can tell you
watch
all
it.
day until you see it. You're just gonna be like, what?
It was interesting. I had no idea what it's about.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I was fine with it. I liked it. I really did. It is weird and it's hard to describe, but it's one that I did like.
It's one of those that I think you'll like it or you won't. But it does, like you said,
it makes you think about some stuff.
Makes you think about stuff. There's a whole moral dilemma. There's multiple facets of how they deal with the end of people being exposed to something, somebody else that's not of sound mind to take care of themselves, and somebody else doing it like a very Romeo and Juliet, like, wait a minute, you did it and I didn't, what? And trying to do it and trying to make someone do it, make somebody else that doesn't think they morally should because of their circumstance. There's a lot of stuff. And then the teaser to the end of the film kind of slaps you in the face. It's like, see, so it's when you were yelling about it, like, see, that's why, and it's an interesting flick.
It's a little multi-level. It doesn't seem like it. It seems very just bizarre, weird.
And it is.
Friends getting together kind of movie, but there's a lot happening. So I did enjoy this one. It's very strange.
I enjoyed it. It was weird, but I enjoyed it.
So there you go. Silent Night. You should check it out.
All right, moving on. What else we got, sister?
Oh man, there's so many good things. We still have that one.
Okay.
Or we have that.
Just
or we
pick
have
one,
that.
my dear. I don't care.
Let's go. We'll go with that.
All right. Next to talk about a movie neither one of us cared about watching.
Yeah. Had no interest in watching about this. I'd completely just blocked it out.
This was one that I was interested in watching because of the cast and who was behind the scenes that you didn't even remember. But it was one I had no interest in going to theater to watch. And Correct. It was the kind of movie like, had they not sent me the copy to watch, I still may have never watched it. Mm-hmm. You were like, I don't even care. You're like, it's just trying to pull your heartstrings. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't care. So initially, I sat down by myself because I'm required to review it.
Yes.
So I sat down to watch it. Came out of it like, that is not the movie I thought it was going to be. I said, honey, you need to watch this. You need to just watch it so we can talk about it. It's not the movie you think it is.
Okay.
And it is, but it's not.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
So, Journal for Jordan, you see in the preview, he's a soldier. They're having a baby, and it's Journal for Jordan. So I'm like, he's going to die and just write all these sad things for this kid. Who cares? Seen it, done it, don't want to do it again.
So the movie is directed by Denzel Washington.
Which I didn't pay attention to.
Has done a few great movies. Like Fences was absolutely brilliant.
It was great.
So I was interested just to see what he was doing with a kind of a romantic drama kind of a sorts, because it's not like Fences is a Broadway type play put into the real world, and he's done some other films and different things. This didn't seem like the kind of movie he normally has directed, at least to me. And so I was interested to see where it goes, and I finished it, and I was like, through most of the movie, and I don't know if you've had the same experience. Through most of the movie, it was a fine movie, but I was just like, it's fine, whatever. I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna be like, okay, it was a good movie. It's not totally what I thought it was gonna be. It wasn't as heart wrenching as I thought it was gonna be initially until the last like 30 minutes of the movie. Then it like slaps you in the face, brings it all together, and I'm like, it makes the rest of the movie way more powerful because there's a lot of little things that happen that mean so much more when it's wrapped up than it does at the moment.
Yeah. And then I think too, for me, it was more than what I thought it was going to be because it's a lot told mostly from the point of view of the lady, not even from the soldier perspective. Right. It's her story that she's telling her son. So I was like, oh, is she the Journal for Jordan, not him? So then I was like confused. I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe I am interested. Yeah. Because it's her story. And
it's a story that's part love story, part tragedy, part recovery, part dealing with elements of PTSD.
Yeah. I think it also deals with
real life.
It deals with a little bit with colorism.
And it's a true story.
Yes, which I didn't pay attention to either. And so, this thing, it got me. I did enjoy it. At first I was like, what? And then I was like, okay, so I'm in it.
Yeah, once
I'm
I started
engaged.
realizing what the direction it was actually going, I'm like, okay, I'm a little more intrigued than I was when I started this.
So thank you. And so I was totally in it and I really enjoyed it. And then, like you, I get to the end and I start ugly crying all over the
because
place.
what they do without telling you what they do is they set up a scenario that you're like, okay, this makes sense. This is very simple. And they could have easily done what they said they were going to done, and it would have been still probably heart-wrenching and sad, but it would have been good closure.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much more to it that told even more story and especially, I don't want to say so much about the circumstances of where their relationship goes or doesn't go.
Yeah, because that plays a part into it. And I was like, that's wrong. But I understand legally why they did what
and I
they
didn't
did.
expect it to go that direction.
And
The way it was all set up, you seemed like it was going,
Mm-mm.
even from the trailer, you think it's the direction. And like I said, it's those little things that you just assume this is the story, this is where it goes, this is where we're going, this is why. They're all kind of clipped out because it takes the normal part of it away.
And I think, too, this explores something we don't get to see often in kind of a military spouse movie or whatever you want to call it, the life interruptions of war.
Yeah.
Like, he is completely interrupted in their relationship at one point. He gets interrupted again at the birth of his child. He gets interrupted again with her relationship later on after that. Like, his life... Like, there's moments of her life where she's just alone.
And it's interesting too,
but she's in this relationship.
You see these things in shows like SEAL Team where they have relationships in extreme. But what's interesting that I thought this movie did too was it was also trying to make you, as a viewer, understand both sides. Like, she's feeling alone. She's feeling neglected sometimes. She's feeling, why am I not important enough?
Yeah, why is
she's
that
not
more
understanding his mentality of, I have to be here for my men. I can't let my men die alone. I can't. That doesn't mean I love you less. It's his responsibility of his character.
Heavy though, too.
But that's also what made her love him so much, was his character as someone who was not going to let his men do something he wasn't going to do.
Mm-hmm.
That made her love him more, but it was also the thing that made her more alone.
Correct.
It was very interesting of how spouses and things deal with that, but also getting to see, like, there's a moment in the film where he doesn't make an event because he's there for somebody else, for one of his soldiers. And the excuse, I'm like, why would you go there when you know this is not as important? And it's like a simple line that if you blink and miss it, where he's like, well, he's like a kid. He doesn't know how to deal with any of this stuff. And I need to be here for him because I'm kind of his leader, his role model. I'm father figure in this scenario.
Yeah, that got me too.
But that doesn't mean anything to her because she has her problem life. And she's like, but I need you right now. And then it turns into speculation where when you're separated, just like if somebody's traveling and I can't talk right now, the first thing in your mind is never, are they okay? They're busy with work. It's like, who are they with? What are they doing wrong? Why don't they love me? It's those things that happen. And I give a big applaud for when they're dealing with that scenario and they come back together, that it didn't become this long, drung out Hollywood
back and
thing.
Forth.
It felt like two people that really cared about you, that have a discussion, that were willing. One was really mad. One was really cared. Neither one of them knew how to deal with it, but they were willing to listen.
Correct.
And that's
like adults. Wow.
Yeah, like normal people should be.
I think there were two things that really got me was when her friends showed up at her house. And
during phone call stuff, in that meeting,
and she's like, "No, well, she's like, yeah, my friends are here."
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm trying not to spoil things
because I was like, "Oh, goodness!" Yes. And then the end of it too with the little boy that got me. Yeah. I was like, "Oh Lord, no!" But then too, to see the people that were in that scene, like those are for real people.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of them in there that I know for a fact that they've been in other stuff, but I know their history.
This movie got me at the end, and then it goes black, and it's like a film by Denzel Washington. I'm like, of course it is. That's why I'm over here ugly crying.
And now, were you happy that they showed the picture of the real life people?
Yes. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is based on the lady's memoir. And then to see where she works at now, I was like, "You go, girl! You go, girl!"
Head of what?
I was like, Simon and Schuster.
Yeah.
I was like, "You go, Heck yeah.
Anyway, so
I loved this
Journey
movie.
for Jordan is one of those movies I will probably never watch again, but it's a really good watch to watch once.
And it tricked me at one point with the 9/11 thing.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to tell
like,
you that was in there, and then you were see it starts making you think that's involved now. There's a lot of moments
there's so many
that then makes
things.
you think when you're dealing with military and someone leaves and you know in the story
like you can't know where they're going.
You know, when you're dealing with this kind of a story, you know that okay, there's a 50% chance that he's going to die in this movie.
Yes,
you know,
for sure.
Like, where are they going to get us at? Does he die early and we deal with it? Does he die later? Does he die at all? And there's even a moment where there's a tease. I don't know if you caught it. There's a tease of maybe a sickness.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, he's not even going to die in war?
That's what I
And then nothing happens and you're just like.
But it still affects him. But that's the thing, though. I'm glad they brought that part in.
Well, I think what that does is that makes the viewer feel like her.
Yes.
Because you're constantly waiting for the hammer to drop.
Mm-hmm.
And there's even a PTSD moment that's such a throwaway scene that's never touched on again.
Yeah.
Where they're out at like the park and a helicopter flies by. It's just a normal helicopter. And then he's like trained on that helicopter watching it. She's like, hey. And he's just watching it because he's used to having to watch his own helicopters or enemy helicopters.
It's crazy.
And then he kind of snaps back too. And it wasn't like he didn't freak out. He wasn't snapping. It wasn't the stereotypical PTSD of like, I'm in the war. It was very subtle,
focused. But just focused. Hyper focused.
So you have about 5, if not more, elements that start telling you these are all the things that could affect this person's life. But you don't know if one of them is going to be the one that takes it, if it's going to be the one that makes them break, if it's going to be the one that helps them get through things. And so you start feeling like her when she's watching it, which I thought was very clever.
Yeah, it was interesting. So again, my mom might have been right not letting me join the army.
Your mom didn't let you join because you're too small.
I know, I was too small and I was going to get hurt.
Anyway, it's one of those movies that...
It's a thinking movie, man.
It is.
It got me in the feels.
It's heavier than it's heavier than I thought it would be, but it also isn't one that feels like it's just trying to pull the heartstrings.
Correct.
You know, there's a lot of layers to it, but it's also one that some people may watch and be like, this movie's just too much. I don't care about this movie. Or,
no, it's good.
Some people may feel like you did going in and feel that way coming out.
Correct.
Because I can see it. It's not an exciting movie.
Because I was like, I don't want to go to another, the other, when we were talking about that, I don't want to go to a sad soldier movie.
Right.
Like, nobody wants that. And so that's why I had just written it off. I didn't pay attention. It says right there, a true story, Denzel Washington.
Let me tell you where else it said it. From my mouth to her face numerous times. Honey, Denzel directed
And I was like, no more sad movies.
This is how we know that she does not listen to her
husband. Listen to your husband.
All right, it's available. It is available now on Blu-ray and DVD. Check it out.
It's actually really good. You should watch it. All right, so we got these two.
And I need to discuss this weekend's events too. So do you want to take a break from that and talk about this, or do we do that at the end?
Do it at the end.
Okay, so pick one.
Which one? Do you want that?
That's fine.
I want that. That?
Either way, whatever.
Okay. I'm going to go, let's go here.
Okay.
Because it's more fresh
so
in
the
my
next
brain.
one is yet another film that was a casualty, if you will, of the pandemic. I don't know how much of a tragedy you would call it. It's more of a tragedy because it deserves a bigger release, but I totally understand the situation. We're talking about Disney Pixar's latest flick, Turning Red. It was supposed to be a big theatrical release just like the others, but it got bumped to Disney Plus directly. I know it was Disney's a little bit of panic because nobody knew where things were. Things seem to be slowly going back to normal now.
Yeah.
For whatever you want to call that. But obviously with box office stuff, they weren't totally sold on it. So they decided way earlier that it was going to go straight to Disney Plus. I hate that from one standpoint, but I kind of love that too because we can watch it as soon as it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And more people get to watch it at home that don't feel like going out. But either way, Turning Red, which is a story of a little girl, a little Asian Canadian girl.
Mm-hmm.
The movie takes place in Canada, which I thought was an interesting take because it's about a family that deals with their culture, but their culture stuff is in Canada, so it's not.
It reminded me of our show that we watched.
Oh, the Kim's Convenience.
Kim's Convenience.
Yeah, so it's interesting dealing with cultural stuff, but not dealing with that cultural stuff in its country. It's kind of but this was not really even playing the out of place fish out of water thing. Like there's nothing awkward. It's like if you go to California and you see one of those Asian temple things and you go visit it or you see people doing their things, it's that kind of thing. But this one's in Toronto or in Canada, wherever in Canada.
No, in Canada.
And anyway, it's pretty much normal life. This girl and her friends, but then there's a situation where she turns into a giant red panda.
Yes.
Which ends up being something related to the family history. And that's all we'll tell you about that.
Correct.
So I was looking forward to this. I had a different connection to this movie, the red panda aspect, because I have a friend who for probably 10, 15 years, he is a homosexual gentleman who has always referred to me as a red panda, something about the bear community and me being ever elusive. I don't know. It even gave me a toy red panda one year at a convention. And so it sits on my desk. So there was even a post that he made. Why did somebody not tell me, or how is Disney making a movie about a red panda and Bobby Blakey is not involved? I'm like, so when this came out, I even sent him a message. I said, just before you watch it, Turning Red is not a love story about my life.
No,
I was very upset.
It's not.
So anyway, so Turning Red,
very much a children's movie.
Yeah, it's very much a children's movie. I was on the fence on the trailers for this because it looked fun.
Oh, see, I was so excited.
It looked fun.
Bless you.
Visually, it looked awesome, but I'm like,
she needs a little Benadryl.
I don't know how this story is going to work because, of course, I also wasn't sure what the story was going to be.
Yeah, correct.
But I can happily say this movie is awesome.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Awesome. That's what I was. This movie is awesome. It's amazing. And I love it.
So I'm sure you connect with it in a different way I do because this movie is not so much about the cultural, but the cultural is very heavy in it. Mm-hmm. It's dealing with we watched the behind the scenes thing on Disney Plus for this as well, which was kind of interesting.
Yes, you need to watch that.
But it's dealing with not only embracing your heritage, but also embracing who you are as a person from a different country. So like a Hispanic person in America. Mm-hmm. So trying America. But like you trying to, you go to Spanish church and you go to, you speak Spanish with your parents' house a lot of times and eat the food and whatever. It's that kind of mashup, but also you also want to be American, in this case, Canadian.
Yeah. And I would want to be Canadian.
I know. Nowadays, a lot of people do, but it's that kind of mentality. So it's how does this little girl go walk both lines and be respectful to both, but also figure out who she is. And as you as a female,
yes,
did you connect with a lot of it from the mind of a young girl and the different complexities, also as a minority and dealing with different things?
I think so. I think mostly from the cultural perspective, in the sense of Mei Lee is dealing with that feeling of family obligation. Like you have to do what the family says. You have to make your parents proud. She has to come home immediately after school to work at the temple. You have to do what you're told. You have to meet the expectations of the family. And I think culturally, that's very much how it is outside of the U.S.
Right.
Because I think for like American, perhaps legit American Caucasian people, I don't think y'all have that as much as culturally we do.
I think
others.
I agree.
Not just me, but
you've had that discussion many times about, and I know you didn't mean it maliciously, even though sometimes you say it maliciously. No, where you'll say things like, "What culture do y'all even have?"
Yeah.
Because when you look at everybody else,
not to be mean.
No. I know, and when I'm done crying, then
Aw, baby,
I know, but I understand what you're saying because there's not. I think this is my own opinion. I think the reason Americans don't have a specific culture is because America is built up of every culture.
That's true.
So we're not in a place where we do only these things. I grew up predominantly around Hispanic people. I had a white family, obviously, but my best friends are Hispanic. My martial arts instructor is Hispanic. Yet I'm in an Asian martial arts thing, so I was very engrossed in Asian culture, Hispanic people's culture, because I was always eating with them and hanging out with them and around them. And then on the flip side, my obsession with music was hip hop and rap. So you have a lot of Black culture in there, and I was kind of engaged unintentionally. I didn't nobody did it. I just kind of I was a lot.
You
were
much more open.
I was diverse.
Yeah, diverse. So I think I identify with Mei Lee because she has to go home. Like her family's very strict, very religious. She can't stay late after school. She can't go out with her friends. And so that's how I grew up as well. So I totally identify with her. And then, you're in your room and you have all these fantasies and exciting things happen in your bedroom. Yeah. But then the rest of your life is very like by the book, organized, set for you, like what you're going to do. And in my world, my mom was like, you need to have a good job where you make lots of money. Don't depend on anybody else.
Well, I would like to thank her mother for that, because that's why I live in this house.
No,
Because my mother said, "Follow your dreams," and I'm broke.
no,
I'm
mine. I
happy.
didn't get to follow my dream. I mean, it was a weird thing,
Right.
because like my dad, who came from Guatemala, was very much follow your
The
dreams.
dreamer.
So my dad's always been like, you can do anything you want to do, and my mom's like, as long as
Right.
you married someone from your same race, same religion, have a good job, and don't depend on a man for anything. So I had these.
You got
things,
most of it right.
you know, but you know, like she wouldn't let me be a teacher because she's like, you won't make any money.
Yeah.
Which I mean,
Well, see, and I technically had the same thing as my mom.
Things.
My mom was
like,
very much follow your dreams and I support you this. Where my dad was like, you can't do that for a job. It's stupid.
Yeah, get a real job.
Yeah, it was my life was always get a real job.
Get a real job.
And everybody I was always around was like always offering me these jobs. Hey, go file an application because these truck drivers are hiring and this and that. And I'm like, I have a job. That's not a real job. Yeah. You know, and now my dad, even though he still doesn't understand how I make a living doing this,
I don't either.
He doesn't understand how that. He doesn't understand that I'm married up.
Hey.
But I also learned about you do follow your dreams, but it takes time to get there. But then you also have to find the balance of like, I live in the real world, and if something was to happen with your jobs or whatever, I would have to get a different kind of job, but I can still maintain most of what I do. Mm-hmm. My martial arts schools that I teach was a side job for most of my life. It's a full-time job now. It's not the kind of job that I can live comfortably alone, but it's the kind of job that is still a job. I'm still paying for it. But I also, as you try to remind me, because when I get into the financial side of it, I'm like, I need to get rid of it. You remind me, like, part of what I'm doing with my senior work and my this work and even the comic work is you're helping change other people. And, you know, like even this weekend, something I'll talk about in a minute, you know, I got to talk to a lady about her son and his art career.
Oh, cool.
And what to do and pointers and all of it stemmed from sitting at some dumb convention selling my idiotic stuff. Yeah. And I think it also made her feel obligated to buy something.
I think the other cool thing about this movie that you see and is true of lots of cultures, even though you may not know outwardly, is that the women have so much control and power over the family life. And I did like that. Like Maylie's mom is so strong and in charge, but then you see her mom's like that to her.
Yeah,
it's
she's
this
suddenly
generational thing, there. And then all the sisters and the aunts and everybody are all in your business. And I think we've seen that you see it like in Big Fat Greek Wedding. They're all in your business. We know, like they're all in your business like too. You know, and it's I love this movie, and I like that we bring in their culture to us.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the animes and the music, like your K-pop kind of music, and just everything that she's into. And she's such a cute little girl. Yeah. Too. I love that. And I love the art style.
Well, and I loved
it all.
One of the big things that really captured me for this movie that I love, that we don't get to see enough of, especially in this is a story that when you have someone that turns into a gigantic red panda, the first instincts can be a lot of fear, a lot of this movie. I wrote this review. It's kind of silly sounding. This movie very much made me initially think of Teen Wolf.
Oh.
Where something happens, something that's a family curse or whatever you want to call it, and then they got to deal with it. And then do they deal with it? No, they deal with it like a kid would deal with it. You know, in Teen Wolf, he starts playing basketball. They start selling merchandise. They start doing all these things.
That is true.
This movie plays to that. But what I loved about it was in something like Teen Wolf, everybody's initially terrified. In this one, her friends were like, we still love you. You're adorable. You know, and it's that instant connection of how your real friends are. They accept you. And that's what this movie is really about. It's not only a coming of age film about a young girl.
Her friends are awesome.
It's not. It deals with coming of age for a young girl growing up with multicultural stuff to deal with. But then you also have dealing with the feelings, dealing with the world outside of you, but then also acceptance, being different, being weird. And, you know, it's a weird difference now where there's still bullying and unacceptance. But when we were growing up, if you like the stuff that I like, the comics and the animations or whatever, if you were the weirdo, you know, if you like Star Wars or whatever, you were weirdos. Weird. Now it's so common. It's like the weirdos are the people that don't like it, you know, and this takes place in 2002, I believe it is.
Something like that.
And so seeing it, friends that are real friends that accept them, there's never a moment in this movie, not really, that the friends ever turn on her.
Correct.
There's never that moment that we normally get in these movies where they do something to upset their friends and you got to come back and rekindle your friendship because of this. They were there to support her the whole time, even if she didn't believe that.
And I like that her little group of friends, they're all kind of like little nerdy girls. And I love that.
They're all completely different.
Yes.
Which I liked.
I liked that too. Oh, it was so fun.
It is a fun movie. The animation is beautiful. A lot of bright, vibrant colors.
And I like when they're all enamored and they got like the big eyes, like,
which is funny because you hate anime.
I don't hate anime.
You do. You say it all the time.
Sometimes it makes me dizzy.
But for you, but the thing is the most of the things that you loved about this movie in visuals are directly from anime, which is hilarious.
But it wasn't over like.
I get what you're saying. It's just
this little girl is so cute, and I like that she's
she's loud, obnoxious, and
she's loud and proud.
But she's very.
And she does that. And
that's
so
also
cute.
something that you don't get a lot of a young girl character that's extremely confident of who they are.
Yes.
And
until
even
this
when
panda shows up.
Even when she gets home around her mom, she's still more subdued and she knows how to behave, but she's still confident in who she is. Mm-hmm. But when things are taken away from her or called out or she's embarrassed, the movie is not about the panda. The panda is basically that inner issue of you. Confusion of who you are and what you're going into be and how to deal with things. And it's metaphor for all those things while throwing kaiju in the middle of a film that was awesome.
You're so funny. You're like, if they had told me that, I would have been in.
Excuse me.
I like the use of the panda though to deal with that other side of you that you're just trying to figure it out and do you choose to embrace it or hide it away? Yeah. And I think that's the struggle that every young person comes up with. And I think especially if you are from another culture or you are different or whatever you may feel about yourself, trying to deal with that whole panda side.
And it's smart too by using the red panda mentality, even though there's the Asian element to it. I think any other person of any culture can watch it and latch onto the metaphor because it's done through this animal and not just an Asian person.
Correct.
And it creates a little fun to it by being this big silly panda and the fluffiness and the goofiness of it.
You're so fluffy.
But it adds.
I gotta watch this again.
It adds an element of fun to it. I also want to touch on something in relation to Disney.
Okay, Disney.
I know a lot of people are throwing temper tantrums about Disney, and I'm not defending or going against them. But somebody asked me, so I'm saying this publicly, of why would I still support Disney amidst during these times when there's controversy. And if you don't know the controversy, the Don't Say Gay bill that's out there that Disney supposedly, not supposedly, but did donate a lot of money to the people that backed the bill. They have since come out and said that we didn't. We've been working behind the scenes. We didn't public things. Now they've since condemned the bill. And then, of course, people are like, well, it's too little, too late. Like, because apparently nothing's ever enough for anyone. My view on that and actors that have lost their crazy minds and things like this, I support some of these movies and these things because I'm a firm believer in the people that made them, not the branding that's always on them. This lady that made the movie and the people that worked on it and the actors and the animators and all these people, everybody always rises up to say, you need to give more props to the animators. You got to give more things because pay them correctly, none of this. But then if the brand does something wrong, then you condemn the film. And I think that's wrong. I think they put this work in before that was said. This film shouldn't be made to suffer because you don't like Disney, the brand, or the human being running Disney. That's just my personal feeling. I don't condemn anybody for their own boycotts or whatever they want to do. I get it. But I look at it as an artist myself, of all the artists that spent time 2-3 years making this movie in their dream, well before anybody said anything rude or disagreed with anybody. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to support this movie, not because I want to give money to Disney, but because I want these people to see that I appreciate their work. And yes, I'm one person and my one little ticket doesn't mean anything, but it does to me. It does. Because if that one person bought my thing, even though I might have said something stupid,
Oh, I say lots
that
of
meant something to
stupid
me,
things.
you know. So
I say lots of stupid things.
you what?
I say lots of stupid
Oh
things.
my lord! If you even knew, people, the 3 people that watch the show would dwindle to 2.
You're funny.
Anyway, all right, moving on.
Okay, moving on. We
Turning
gotta
Red
keep
is
it moving.
available on Disney Plus right now, so check it out.
Go
watch it. It's so great. It's an awesome movie.
Okay, now we're going to this movie. It's available on Netflix.
Yes,
This is The Adam Project.
starring.
Well, what's his name?
Yes, what's his name is in this movie?
Daredevil, not Daredevil.
Wow.
Wow, wrong one.
Wow, all
Wrong
heroes red are the same now. It is directed by Sean Levy, who directed Free Guy, who also stars
the same
Ryan
guy,
Reynolds,
Ryan Reynolds,
who's
who
in this film.
Free Guy is hilarious to me.
The movie
I think
also
I'm the
has-
only one to think
The
so.
movie also has Jennifer Garner in it
Yes,
and Mark Ruffalo.
and what she has deemed the 13 going on 30 reunion, and I just posted a picture that she tweeted it or something. It's so funny. And I was like, this is so true. But look how cute they are. Aww. Are you okay? What you doing over there,
I don't know
buddy?
why it's not taking me. Oh, there he goes.
Anyhow, the Adam Project.
And then the little boy that's in it, his name is Walker Sobdell. And then it's also got Catherine Keener and Zoe Saldana.
There you go.
This is one of those movies that when I saw information, I love Ryan Reynolds. And I liked everybody else in this cast, so I was gonna watch it either way.
Correct.
But it kind of looked a little cheesy from the previews. I thought it was gonna be one of these silly kids movies, science fiction, goofball things, and Ryan Reynolds was gonna be zany Ryan Reynolds like he is, and so I went into it with very low expectations. But the movie I saw totally reminded me of like Spielberg from the 80s and 90s and these fun sci-fi E.T. I don't know what else, those kind of movies back then. This movie was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It's predictable. When you deal with time travel, there's always a chance of things going horribly wrong.
Butterfly effect.
Not in the story, but way they handle it. They forget things.
I was thinking butterfly effect.
So the premise of the movie is about a fighter pilot who travels back in time, crashes,
gonna go back in time,
and then technically ends up teaming up with a little boy. Which, if you haven't seen the trailer, I'm not going to tell you about it because the trailer tells you, but I'm not going to tell you here. Teams up with a little boy who's somebody he may or may not know.
This is the most sleepingest dog back here.
To try to solve a problem that will help the future.
There you go. You gotta go to the past to save the future.
Yes, it's like Back to the Future.
Pretty much. But that's why I was singing Back in Time.
I know what you were doing.
Anywho,
it wasn't happening. I really like this movie.
I really enjoyed this movie too. I think one of the things that helps it is technology has really helped.
Right. Well, I think that the little boy Sobdell
so good.
And Reynolds have great chemistry together.
So much.
And I don't know if you've seen any of the promo stuff.
No.
The promo stuff is so
have
good.
Have they been together promoting?
Well, there's one where the little boy's doing a commercial for like Kraft mac and cheese.
Aww.
And Ryan Reynolds interferes in the commercial.
Of course he does.
And there's another one with Ruffalo and Reynolds are talking about the movie, and they bring in, they're like, and to really to really make you understand, we brought in a. It's funny that you said it. He goes, we brought in a expert on time travel.
Oh.
And it's like some guy walks out of the door. It's freaking Christopher Lloyd talking about time travel.
Oh my gosh, that's so
funny. It's so funny. But there was a video that, and then we'll get back to the movie, but there's a video Ryan Reynolds just posted about the little boy is apparently obsessed with Deadpool.
Oh.
And so Ryan Reynolds is holding his camera like this. The kid's in the back seat reciting an entire sequence of Daredevil, complete with the cuss words or beeping them out.
Deadpool.
Deadpool. And Reynolds is like cracking up. He's just like, and he's like doing it word for word. And then he describes the scene and then he does the next dialogue. It was pretty funny.
That's funny. Anyways, it's a good movie. I thought it was really cute. I'm glad it's on Netflix to be available to everybody. One of our friends had also watched it and is like, love this movie. So I'm so glad. First of all, that people are actually watching movies because our friends, they need to watch more movies. But anyways, it's so good. And I love me some Ryan Reynolds and I love me some Jennifer Garner. I know you're not a huge fan.
But I will say she's done a few things in the last, her last few projects that I actually like.
I feel like she's hit her stride in the mom role. I don't want to pinhole her in a mom role. But I agree. I think she is an awesome mom in real life. Like I would want her to be my mom.
I think
because my mom was
she's
mean.
So fully embraced the mom as a real life.
My mom was mean.
It comes across on screen, because that movie with the terrible, isn't she the mom in the terrible no good,
the
Very Bad Day, whatever.
Timmy.
No, not that one. This
Tim-
is the terrible, no good, very bad day or
Oh
something.
yes,
think
with
she's the mom
her
in that
and Steve Carell.
I
Yes,
think so.
I think so.
Is she the mom in the plant foot kid?
I think so too.
I don't
Oh
know.
my gosh, she's just the mom.
Timothy Green. Timmy
she's
Green. or
all
whatever.
her mom.
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about the one that everything goes horribly wrong for that kid. I thought she was the mom of that, but she might not. But that might have been Alicia Silverstone. I don't remember now. All of the moms are the same.
Horrible, no good. No, it's Jennifer Garner and
Okay,
Steve
cool.
Carell. Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. She seems to have fully embraced that in real life, and she dives right into them.
I would like her to be my mom.
I don't want her to be my mom.
I do, because she just seems cool.
We're the same age. I think.
Okay, well, I'd like her to be my friend. I think she is a really genuinely nice human being.
She seems like she could be.
I love her, and it was so cute. Like, she tweeted that photo of her and the Hulk, and about
Mark
them.
Ruffalo. Oh yeah,
Mark Ruffalo, about the 13 going on 30, and I was like, oh, that's just so cute. How cute is this
I did
little
think
picture?
she was. I thought she was great in Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh yeah, of course.
That was before anybody knew who she was at that point. Anyway, this movie is actually full of heart, full of some drama, full of family. It's got tons of action, comedy, science fiction.
Yeah.
Like I said,
and good action too.
Yeah, like I said, it is predictable, but you're okay with it because it's such a fun ride.
It's really about him and that little boy, and they are really good together.
Yeah, because they riff off each other, and it's like a dysfunctional relationship that works. I think had that relationship not worked the way it did, where he comes across like he really can't stand that little boy, and the little boy really likes him, and that's why those kind of things always work. Because they're constantly insulting or mocking each other.
But even so, it's deeper. I mean, it's about family. Yeah. It's about love. It's about loss.
I also
there's
like
time travel.
There's a moment.
There's love.
There's something they deal with in the movie too that is something that I don't think we see enough of in movies that deal with family and anger against family members and whatnot. And it's the idea of your anger clouded what the truth was. Like, you remember a situation.
And you said it before it even happened.
Yeah, it's like you remember a situation one way because you're so pissed. You created the way it happened.
And it clouds your judgment.
And over time, you buy into it and you totally forget other things. And it's interesting how they did that when one character is like, well, this has happened. And the other one's like, no, it didn't. This is what happened that day. And whatever. And then it's like, makes you question everything you've ever thought. And now, like, well, now I'm the asshole.
Because emotions can really cloud your judgment.
Yeah, and then the other person that talks about it is like, well, no, you're not wrong. I was this, but yeah, I was there, but I wasn't this. And it's very interesting dynamic, and it never really steps on its own toes like a lot of time travel stuff does, but it also creates some clever workarounds to make it okay.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it'd be like, well, how can this person be here and this person's here at the same time? And they created some interesting things for their story to make it work. I had fun with it.
It was really good. And now we know Jennifer Garner, Mike Ruffalo got married and had this little boy.
I also like that because I remember one of the little snippets I saw of this. Ryan Reynolds has this staff sword that looks like a lightsaber, and he even does this thing. It's a lightsaber, and it made me laugh because in the movie, the boy refers to it, he goes, oh, you have a lightsaber. It's not a lightsaber. And then he does it, and he's like, that is so a lightsaber. And it's like, so it's almost making fun of itself.
It's so fun.
Like
this
the design.
Movie's a lot of fun.
It is.
So you need to watch it.
And it's kind of one that the whole family could watch.
Totally.
Even though I think it's PG-13, because there's a little scariness to the action, if you will, depending on your age.
You should watch
and maybe some language here and there. But it's kind of a family adventure sci-fi action movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
And fun news that came off the project promotion. Ryan Reynolds tweeted his trilogy with Sean Levy, whatever his name will be.
What?
He's done Free Guy.
Yep.
He's done Adam Project.
Yep.
And the next role together,
what?
Deadpool 3.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And most people may not be thinking this, yourself included, Deadpool 3 is now part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So now the interesting bit will be
that's very different.
They have announced that Deadpool will still be rated R, so they're not going to Disney-fy it, as you like to call it. But it'll be interesting to see how does he connect into the Marvel Universe, because they're not going to keep him separate. There's no way they can. Sean Levy, like I said, I'm going to keep doing that because I don't know how to say his name, has also said in press, not necessarily Wolverine Deadpool, but he said he wants to make a buddy comedy with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds.
Oh my gosh.
Because they have been attacking each other for years. And so he's like, I really want to make a bro. Because fun fact too, Sean Levy is also the person that made Real Steel with Hugh Jackman.
Oh, that
Years
was
ago.
such a fun movie.
Yeah, and they're supposedly working on a Real Steel TV series for Disney Plus, but not necessarily
That'd be
connected
cool.
to that. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. But second project, and I want to applaud Netflix because used to Netflix movie come on and be like, it's probably be okay. Their last few movies have been
Their
really,
movies have been
really
really
good.
good.
To my knowledge, this is the second Ryan Reynolds Netflix movie because the other one was Red Faction with The Rock. Remember?
Yes.
You don't know what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
I do.
Because you're doing stuff you didn't have ready.
I know. I didn't have this ready, but I
shame, sister, for shame.
It's okay.
Anyway, it's available now on the Netflix, The Adam Project. What else we got?
That's
Is
it.
that it?
Yep. So
All right,
tell me
really
about your
quick,
thing.
I'm not going to go into a long thing because there's really not as much to tell this year. This weekend was AllCon.
Okay.
If you've ever been around us, you've heard all kinds of crazy, zany stories about AllCon. It's a convention we've been doing 18 years, been part of it as a artist / vendor for 17. Excuse me. It's usually 4 days, 24/7. We used to party all night, sleep all day, all these kind of things. Crazy, zany stories have come up. Many, many, many crazy stories, and many friends have come out of this show. This was the first year they had one in October to make up for
pandemic
COVID year because the March of 2020, when things officially started closing down, the news came out and said, "Hey, the world is shutting down." I was sitting at my artist table at AllCon on Thursday, getting the news, "Hey, you need to shut your table down. The rest of the show is not happening."
Isn't that crazy?
It was a weird moment. When I sat down in October when they did a makeup show, I remember sitting down and I'm like, this is weird. Yeah. The last time I was here was in the hotel that we loved that AllCon was at for years, which closed down during the pandemic. I was sitting there alone, not by myself. There was other people at the show, but nobody was there because it was Thursday. So I was watching my table alone and then watching the news to see what was going to happen because we had all started hearing that things might shut down and waiting for it. And then for them to say, "Hey, you're going to shut down," and having to shut down. And I had shut down and left because they were saying we're shutting early. Then they posted, "We're shutting the show down. You have until noon tomorrow to come get all your crap." So I'd left my banner and all this. So I had to drive haul ass back out there, grab all my stuff, take it down.
And because at that point, nobody really knew what that meant, that they were shutting things down.
Yeah, we didn't know what was going on.
We didn't realize it was going to be like global shutdown.
Yeah, so in October of 2021, they did a makeup show that we did.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
It was fun.
But this weekend was the official March weekend that they always have AllCon. This was year number 18. We're back in it, and I wasn't feeling it.
Oh.
I'm not going to lie. I was like, I don't want to go. But I'd committed to it. We host Superhero Sunday. I was like, I have to go. I committed to it, and I'm not somebody that will just not go if I tell somebody I'll be there. Thankfully, I ended up having a great time. It was weird because most of my friends, I have a ton of con friends, and I have real friends. Right? People we hang out with, we talk outside of the con. Then you have people that we only see at the conventions. We have some people we just are friends with online and the conventions. It's everybody has those kind of people. Yeah. I saw a ton of my con friends as they walk by. They come say hi at the table, walk by, walk past, people hugging each other. One guy hugged me. I'm like, thanks. Now I got to go buy Corona soap. And another one's like, no, 2 of us hugged you, so it counterbalances, whatever. And so, whatever your comfort level is. But I literally sat at my table, mostly intended to be by myself the whole weekend, running my art table. So funny story, is a friend of mine, Frank. He runs this very cool comic workshop we've talked about before, where you go in there, you always drawing it, I always drawing it. He runs the mini comic workshop. We had a mild falling out on Facebook, so I wasn't sure our friend status. We talked in October, everything seemed fine. He showed up, one of the first people I saw when I got there on Friday. Like, Frank, he's like, Bobby. And we both talked about how none of the other people we hang out with are going to be there. Frank plopped down at my table with me, hung out with me all weekend. It was awesome. We got to just shoot the crap, made time go by faster. We solved the world's problems. He mocked my stuff. I mocked his. And we had a great time. It ended up, big thanks to Frank. And then he refriended me on Facebook after the end of it. We're over whatever our issues are. Neither one of us even knew what the issues were at this point. But he, big thanks to Frank. He made the weekend go by really fast. I did really well. The funny thing is I sit at my table and it's directly in front of a column. Well, I was calling it post.
And or a pillar and or a post.
Yeah, all the things it was called. And I'm not talking about one like this big around. It's this big around.
And you're
right?
sitting right behind
It's
it.
holding up it's where the camera is at right here. Imagine that's where the post is. And so that's what I stared at all weekend thinking, what the heck, man? They really don't want. October, I was in the dealer room. I got bumped out behind this post, and I did better at this show than I have in here. So I'm assuming people saw the post and goes, what's going on back here? But it became a running joke over the weekend. And so there wasn't a lot of after hours shenanigans. The weirdest part was normally we're there 24/7. Sometimes libations are involved for me, and you usually have to go home because you have church and all the different things. But I usually there. Sometimes we stay at the hotel. It's all night affair, and then there's time change, and it causes more chaos. I was home on Friday by 8:00. I was home yesterday by 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
I was home today before 3. Or right around 3, which is why I couldn't teach. It was very strange being home, but my old body was like, "Thank you so much for not doing this to me anymore." But really quick, we did host Superhero Sunday. Some of the rumors discussion is this year's might have been the last Superhero Sunday. They may be moving it to something else, which I told them whatever they'd like to do. But years ago, she was supposed to be there, forgot she had a church thing, so she couldn't make that. So now I'm having to run things again. So she didn't get to go with me at all this weekend. Years ago, Jedi Cole, he's the one that started this, like 2005 or whatever, 2007, whenever he started Superhero Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
He gave it to us years ago, handed it over to us because he was getting too busy. I was able to grab Cole to come host it. So it became like, he started the show. He got to host what might be the final show, which became kind of a blessing in disguise. It was awesome. The other cool thing is I met this lovely lady. Her name is Karen Whitfield. You might see her. I got an autograph of her dressed as Batgirl.
Nice.
This is not a cosplay person, which you may look at and think it's just a cosplay person. It is not. Karen Whitfield has an interesting story. She was Batgirl, and she traveled with Adam West and Burt Ward. I guess, if I'm not mistaken, when Yvonne Craig decided she didn't want to do it. And I'm assuming they did like these roadshow appearances, things like this. I don't know if it was conventions, what all it was, but she traveled with them from like 1978 to like 1988 or something like that.
That's cool.
She was the official bike girl for, you even look at it on the autograph thing, you look down below, it has 1979, it looks like, DC Comics Incorporated. So you could tell this was like their official photo that they put out. She was one of the people there. She had the original Batgirl costume.
That's awesome.
She has a book, which I'm going to buy, and once I get it, I'll talk about it on the show. But she was not only super sweet and nice, she also jumped in as a judge at the Superhero Sunday Custom.
So cool.
We got to finish, if this is in fact the end, not only myself, we had Jeff, who has been with Alcon from year one. He's the one that deals with all the technology, all the microphones, all the sound stuff. So he's a very important element to Alcon, who was a judge. Then you had me, who's been with Alcon. It was my first con, year 2 as an artist. And then we had an actual superhero celebrity.
That's
so it
cool.
and then Cole hosting. It seemed like a perfect variety that kind of embraced what Alcon is.
Yeah, totally.
And we had a good turnout of the group.
Which is great.
We did that. But I wanted to tell everybody, her name is Karen Whitfield, WHITFIELD. You can find her on Instagram at Live Like Batgirl. She's got some cool photos and stuff. She has a book about her adventures as Batgirl.
That's fun.
She's a very sweet woman. Right before the show started, I got a message from her because I thanked her, and she messaged back. So I'll be buying the book directly when I get it. I'll read it. I'll talk about it on the show because I want to definitely promote it. She was super, super sweet. She's
Batgirl.
Yeah, and a lot of people will be like, well, of course she's super sweet. These people don't have to be sweet.
They don't have to be nice to you at all.
Yeah, no.
Because we've had those kind. They're like, don't look at them in the eye. Pass your photo down. Keep moving.
Let me tell you something really awesome she did. She, during the costume contest, they all get little trophies. Mm-hmm. She even signed the bottom of everybody's trophies on her own. Nobody asked her to do it. She just said, hey, if you have a Sharpie, I'll do this. She's just an awesome person. And I only got to spend, I'm bummed out that I didn't get to spend more time to talk to her. I talked to her for a little bit at her table when I bought the autographs, and then I got to sit next to her and chat up a little bit with her. So she's like super awesome. So if you can't go follow her on Instagram,
there you go.
Support people. I'm all about supporting the people that are super nice. And I don't tell you about the ones that are horrible because I'm not going to promote them. Anyway, so that was Alcon's experience. It wasn't a whole lot of stuff, but it was a good time overall.
Okay.
So moving on real fast. For the giveaways, is that what I'm doing?
Yes, sir.
Or am I on what's coming out?
What's coming out?
What's coming out? What coming out this week is not a huge week.
Coming
A Shudder original called The Boy Behind the Door is coming to Blu-ray. I don't know what that is.
Huh.
John in the Hole. I don't know what that is either, but it does have Michael C. Hall in it. So I'm all for it.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's about some guy named John and he's in a hole. The West Side Story that you talked about is getting a 4K Blu-ray, all that release. American Werewolf in London is also getting a 4K release.
Nice.
This movie is awesome. Dream a Little Dream is getting a 4K release. If you've never seen Dream a Little Dream, that's with Corey Haim and Corey Feldman.
The Coreys?
I love that movie. That's one of the movies I watched a whole bunch of times for some weird reason.
Because it was the Coreys.
Shooter with Mark Wahlberg, directed by Antoine Fuqua, is getting a Steelbook edition. You said you don't remember that movie?
I don't.
So we have the 4K Steelbook of that, so we'll probably talk about it next week. And then what I'm super excited for that I never got my copy, but I was supposed to, but I'll probably end up buying it, is Albert Pujols' The Sword and the Sorcerer is getting a 4K release from Shout Factory.
Shout!
So I'm very excited about that, too. It's an awesome movie.
Okay. Coming out at the theater and or on the line. Monday, tomorrow, March 14th, there is a movie coming out on video demand and digital called The Last Mountain. It is a documentary about a man named Tom Ballard who's climbing the Himalayas and disappears. The interesting thing about the story is that years earlier, like 25 years earlier, his mother also disappeared and died, or didn't disappear. She died climbing a mountain. So now the sister's going on this adventure to retrace their steps. And it's just a story of perseverance and that love of adventure. Even though, it's dangerous. Like, I'm not trying to climb no mountains. I ain't trying to do nothing.
You're not trying to walk to the middle to get milk.
Not really. All right. Thursday, coming to Netflix, a movie called Rescued by Ruby. It's a man that wants to be a canine canine detective, yes, and a dog that they get teamed up, and I feel like heartstrings will be pulled.
Grant Gustin?
Grant Gustin,
yeah, who plays the Flash
on the TV show,
the CWs.
Okay, coming out Friday. I'm excited for a bunch of these movies. Coming out nationwide is Uma, which is mother in Korean, like mama, but Uma, and it stars Sandra Oh. And it's the story of this Korean American lady and daughter who are just living like their quiet life. But then suddenly her estranged mother's remains arrive from Korea and things start to happen. So it's going to be interesting. Nationwide also, The Outfit. This is the one about the English tailor, and we think there's some sort of mob activity going on. It's where you see in the trailer where they come and they drop like envelopes in that secret box, and he pretends not to know anything about it. Coming to Disney Plus, a new version of Cheaper by the Dozen starring Gabrielle Union.
Is this what you wanted to watch?
Yes.
They just sent it to me.
Oh, perfect. Coming to Hulu, a movie called Deep Water. This is the Ben Affleck, Ana de Armas, super hot looking movie in that trailer. I know somebody here wants to see it, so we will be watching.
I do like Ben Affleck, but I really like me some Ana de Armas.
Coming to Netflix, a movie called Windfall. A young couple arrive to find that their vacation home has been robbed.
They come to find that they have fallen from the wind.
This one I'm absolutely looking forward to. Netflix, thank you, Netflix, for putting out such good things. Black Crab, starring Noomi Rapace. I will watch anything this woman is in because she's amazing. But this one is a Swedish action thriller set in post-apocalyptic times. And she's there with her little gun. I'm in.
She's not fighting any lambs this time around.
I don't think so, but Lamb was an amazing movie.
Lamb is awesome. Really weird, but really good.
So good. You have to watch it.
She has another one coming out, I think, this week.
I don't know if it's going to show up.
I guess it's not on there.
Well, hold on.
Maybe it was April 1st. Never mind.
So. Coming out to Prime Video, a movie called Master. This is the story of 3 young women trying to find their way at a prestigious New England university, but something sinister is going on. And that one stars Regina Hall, not to be confused with Regina King. But
Oh, I thought this was a show, not a documentary.
they're both amazing. Which one?
That one,
This
yeah,
one?
yeah. Oh no,
This
I'm
is
interested more now.
this
'Cause
is
I
a
thought it was gonna be a show. I
documentary.
didn't
I'm
care about
so excited. It's on Disney Plus. It's called More Than Robots. It's following these different groups of teenagers who are entering this robotics competition, and it's teams from LA, Mexico, Japan, and they're all building and designing these unique robots to win this competition. It is a documentary.
Okay, well,
I'm so excited.
That's the one they just sent me.
Okay, great. Disney Plus. Limited. I'm trying to give you all the things that are on wide release. And that's it for this week. But there's a lot happening.
Sweet.
So many good things.
Also, really quick, we only have a few copies because some of them went into Alcon and some of them I still kept aside. We have on giveaway, we have a movie called 645 that we'll be talking about soon. King Richard with Will Smith and the Venus, or the Williams sisters, not the Venus sisters, the Williams sisters. Invincible that I just talked about today. Green Mile on 4K. Halloween Kills, we still got a couple left. And lastly, The Matrix Resurrections. We have a couple other ones that are fixing to hit giveaways this week, so be on the lookout for those. That's all.
So someone mentioned Shooter. We mentioned Shooter coming out to the 4K there. Shooter is one of those movies, if you're channel surfing and come across it, you stay and watch from wherever it starts.
Yeah. You know, here's what's funny about this is I've seen it, and I remember really digging it. I love all Antoine Fuqua stuff. But that's one of those ones that I have watched a couple times, but it's been so long since I've watched it, I don't remember how much I like it or don't like it.
Well,
so
we're gonna find out.
We're gonna watch it, and
we'll find out this
I'm
week.
pretty sure you're probably correct because if it's Antoine Fuqua, I'm probably gonna watch it more and more and more.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Please go like, share, comment, subscribe, send hearts, send the little stars, send bubbles, whatever you want to do.
I didn't get to answer this last week, and I apologize. Somebody asked me the same question, and whatever setup, I was trying to type the answer, but when we went offline, it kicked me off.
Oh, yeah.
If you've already entered the contest, you do not have to enter again, but you are more than welcome to. Because as they
put you in the bucket.
Yeah, put them in a bucket, but if it gets bumped up and if I miss it, whatever. So, yeah, more than welcome to enter something more than once. Feel free.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining our show this week. We will see you next Sunday at 6-ish Central.
Give or take.
Sunday at 6.
All right. Peace and love, children. Peace and love.
Bye. Peace be